Alright, what's going on, you guys? Hope everybody's doing well. So it's been a little while since I posted a video, and that's because I've been so busy working on this truck. I've been working on this thing like a madman. I'll show you what I've gotten done so far. So I got the cooling system mounted in. Right here you can see there's the pump, radiator, all the lines. That took a little bit of work. I'll show you why. So when I got this radiator, there was supposed to be a flange here welded to the radiator tank, and then I could just weld a couple tabs to the chassis, bolt it up that way, but there was no flange on there. So I don't know how that happened, but either way it was no big deal because I'll show you what I did. And I like this setup better actually. So I made this little box right here, and this piece comes underneath the radiator, so it's very well supported. I welded it in. Then I put a bolt right there, and it's rubber mounted. And then I made up this bracket right here, bent it up, welded it to the chassis, so that stops it from going up and down. Then I made another setup up there to stop it from going like forward and back. I made up all these lines, made a couple brackets to mount this T for the coolant. Hoses are all in. Everything works great. So I had this engine running for a long time. I let everything get good enough to temperature, got the timing all set up, all the fuel injection. With this Enderly setup, it's important that you get all the right pills and everything in there. I was going to go with a Holley EFI, I said this before, but I ended up going with the old tried and true Enderly just for reliability. If I was running this truck all the time, like every weekend and stuff, then maybe I'd think about going EFI, but for now I'll stick with the reliability. And Enderly also is awesome throttle response. Like once you get all this stuff set up right and you got the right barrel valve, Enderly is very hard to beat. Alright, so what else? Right now I'm kind of at a standstill. I'll show you why. So if you notice, the link bar is out. I got the differentials out. And that's because I had to modify the differentials for these axle shafts. So these axle shafts are a lot bigger than the normal 1 3/4 axle shaft. I'll show you what I had to modify. So right here's a couple spare center sections. And right here is the carrier. And if you take a look right here, this is where the axle shaft goes through. This is too small, so I had to pull this carrier out, and I didn't have a way to set this up in my mill. So I brought it to a local machine shop so they could use a boring bar to bore that out. So he should be done with that in a couple days. And then once I get those back, I can put the center sections back in, put the axles in, spindles. I'll have this thing on wheels. And if you take a look right here, I built the steering linkage. There's a certain way I make these, the same way I made the link bars. I don't want to really tell everybody how I do that stuff, but they're very strong. And then I had to weld these tabs on the knuckle. So that was a lot of work because you got to do what's called a triple pass weld. So each piece has 1, 2, 3 welds on both sides. So it's a lot of welding. So I got that done front and back. Then I just have to put the steering cylinders on, which I've had for a while. They mount to a bracket right there. I'm having that bracket made up. I could make it myself, but there's a really cool place near me that I could just do a CAD drawing. Or you can even like sketch it out on a napkin or something. They're so good and they can make the part exactly how you want. But I got that being made out of grade 50 steel. It's just very strong steel. You don't want that thing to bend, or you don't want the holes to get opened up. Now when it came time to weld this on, I didn't want to just use my little multi-process welder, so I bought a new welder. Check this thing out. So this is a Lincoln Powermig 260. I've always had Miller. Nothing against Lincoln, but I've just always used Miller. So my local welding store had an awesome deal on this thing, so they gave it to me, and I love this welder. The thing's awesome. They gave me an awesome price on it, so it was hard to say no, and I'm very glad I went with this one. So who knows, maybe I'll switch everything over to Lincoln, but really what it comes down to, Miller versus Lincoln's kind of like Ford or Chevy, red or blue, whatever you want. Either way, it's an awesome welder. So when it came time to weld these tabs on, you don't want to just like hold them up and hope you got them in the right place. I had to make a fixture, a jig, to make sure those things were perfect, and to do so I needed a really nice, strong, like flat welding surface. So check out what I made. I made this bench right here. I put it on wheels. It's 2-inch quarter wall square tubing, and then this top piece I made out of 1/2 inch. So it's nice and flat, it's perfect. I checked it before I welded it on. And being on wheels, it's nice I can roll around. So I'll show you these lockers real quick. So that's one of the center sections I have out of the truck because the carrier is out being bored out. So right here I run a spool in the rear and a locker in the front. So if you compare these two spools, so this is the old one and this is the new one. Take a look at where the axle shaft goes in. And you look at this one, this one's a lot bigger. It's also a fine spline, so it's much stronger. So in one way you would think that because a coarse spline is a bigger spline to be stronger, but that's not the case because with a fine spline there's a lot more of them. So that's much stronger. So what else? So yeah, I'm pretty much at a standstill. I got the drive shafts being made up. I was going to make my own drive shafts, but a friend of mine owns a drive shaft place, so I figured I'd just let him do it. It's what he does every day. Wiring's all set up. Everything's all wired, good to go. Still waiting on the harness for the seat. I ordered that almost 3 months ago, so I got to call and check on that, see what's taking so long. And then I just got to finish some Lexan. I did the top. I just got to put the one in the front and the sides and in the back. Right there, I've had the steering cylinders for a while, and I just got to run all the steering lines, which is easy. So that's about it for now. I'm just waiting on those other parts, but it's cool because I could kind of use a break. I've been working on this thing so much. The other night I was here till like 3:30, 4 in the morning. Then I got to go home and like bring my dogs out and stuff like that, take them for a little walk, and then be here in the morning to open up shop at 8 o'clock. So I did that many nights. So it's kind of nice to take a little break. So I'm going to show you something cool I got too. Check this out. Look at that. That's an original RC10 Goldpan. Check this out. I traded a cloudbuster for it. I got this from a man named Basil. This thing is mint. Look at this. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. Things like brand new. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't really like shelf queens, but there's no way I'd run this car just because it's so old and it's so mint. It's an A stamp. But what I'm thinking about doing is I have a lot of vintage electronics like Novak, Screen Machine, stuff like that, top of Magnum Sport radios. So I think I'm just going to build this with all old vintage electronics and stuff, just stick it on the shelf. And I have a lot of RC10Ts that I run in those, things like that. I got a new unboxed RC10T that I'll probably be building soon. So I don't know, it's just something cool to have. And I have so many cloudbusters. And I guess from a man named Basil, and he built up the cloudbuster. He painted like an old vintage RC car action magazine truck, and he showed me pictures. Looks awesome. So it was a good deal. So there'll definitely be more videos to come on this thing. So that's about it. Just wanted to update everybody. It's been a little while, like I said, since I posted a video, but just I've been going to town. So hopefully next video on this truck will be running. I just really want to get this thing ready for a show mid-October. It's near me, so it'd be really cool. Oh, another thing, check this out. They just finished paving my parking lot, so look at this. They just did this a couple days ago, actually yesterday. That's nice, that's mint. That'd make for a nice drift car or something, so you should definitely pick up a little drift car. That'd be cool. I also just made a little mess in my shop. Look at all this oil all over the ground. It's because I just changed the oil in my KTM. It's the first oil change. It's a 22 450 SXF. There was a hole in the bottom of the oil drain pan, so it leaked everywhere. So, oh well, a little bit of speedy dry. So anyway, that's it for now. Take care. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.